We'll be back from the break. I'm still with Major Retired Awich Pollar, Director External Affairs, NRM, and of course we are discussing the patriotism for sustainable investment and socio-economic transformation within the country. So our discussions have been entirely rotating around how we can actively engage in the development of our country and of course the socio-economic development, but mainly basing on the spirit towards the country or our patriotism towards our country. Which love or what kind of love do we have? How deep are we attached to our motherland? Well, Major, if we were to look at now the issue to do with sustainability of the economy, this has been one of the key issues most of the countries are struggling with to sustain. For example, the programs, and only the programs that the government sets up. For example, the government has been coming up with different initiatives, programs, and they've been very effective. Though in one way or the other, the policy makers behind it or the people who are supposed to implement it on ground end up benefiting more, though most of them have at least enriched some of the Ugandans, and Ugandans are already benefiting. But now let's look at the sustainability of the economy. What needs to be done to ensure that our economy, however much it is struggling, but we can sustain any policy that is to make it stronger?
Well, sustainability, unfortunately, we are talking of something in the future. And we all know that future is very unpredictable. And that is why in English, they say, never use the word never. He said, but you have already used it yourself. And then second, why did you invent the word never anyway, if it is not supposed to be used? But what it means there is that you can't predict the future. Anything can happen. For example, even in ordinary time, you can't say, I will never be in NRM. Suppose tomorrow you're in NRM. Or you can't say, I will never go back to that wife. Suppose you go back to the wife. So, future is very undeterminable. So when we ask for sustainability, we are talking of future. But if there's this common thing which has been on the WhatsApp, where our good old boy of Ontari School, Matia Kasaija, said that the economy is already,
said it's flying already, so we're heading to greater heights.
What he meant is that the sustainability is reversible. But of course, as I said, anything can be reversible because of uncertainty of future. If you look at the economy of Libya before Gaddafi was overthrown, nobody would think that you can ever tamper with the economy of Libya. I have been a world judge on human rights for 8 years in Geneva, Switzerland, and I judge countries, 193 countries. On economic rights, when Gaddafi was a president, no country, not even Scandinavian countries like Sweden, would surpass Libya in economic enjoyment of economic rights. That is right to food, right to education, right to health, right to housing. Not even Norway was better than Libya on economic rights. Never. And the countries agree. But it has been reversed. Therefore, your question of sustainability is very important because anything can happen. True. Even notwithstanding the Kasaija saying, therefore, the sustainability calls on all of us. One is that we need patriotism. We are back to where we started. We need a thinking as one country for us to sustain
the economy.
And to make it better. Meaning, therefore, thinking in terms of Choli, Bunyoro, Teso, Lango, what will retard us and will not make us sustain. We shall either be there retarded or even at the risk of breaking. And therefore, we won't have that entity called Uganda, and therefore will not sustain that economy. But also is that there are practical steps to be done by duty bearers to be sure that those economy is sustained. planners. There are those who are holding public office on behalf of others. And by the way, let me say this. All those people who hold public offices, whether you're a permanent secretary, whether you're a governor, Bank of Uganda, whether you're what, you are holding this office basing on one article. The article in the Constitution, article number 1, says power belongs to the people. So when you are holding that public office, you are holding it on behalf of the people, not on your behalf like chief administrative officer. If you are the chief administrative officer of a district and you wake up and chases away a headmistress of a primary school, there's a procedure to check and say, hey, come on, cow, that office you have is not yours. That office you have, you are holding it in trust for the people. And therefore, there's a way you should exercise it. Mr. Cow, you don't stand up and chase a headmistress. You are subjected to what is called judicial review. Judicial review is to check your power. That Mr. Cow, that power you have not used it properly. So judicial review would check and reverse your decision and even pay cost to the affected person. Therefore, I'm saying all the duty bearers, all the public office holders who are holding it on behalf of the people should take care so that this economy is sustained. So if their duty is to plan, they should plan well. Now, therefore, this moves me to the next stage of what has been planned. In my case, because I'm a ruling party person, I know there's that plan, which is through the manifesto and through the particular government policy statement. It is there, that one we are sure. Then how about the execution? Now this takes us to the execution, that programmatic areas in economy, like areas that need legislation, should be taken care of. Because laws are meant to propel the society. If a law acts as impediment to society, that law must be amended. All laws are meant to move forward a society. Once it acts as an impediment, even culture, once a culture acts as an impediment, then that culture must be broken so that a more progressive culture propels us forward. So therefore, on the legislative front, it should be there. On the economic aspect, those who need motivation or support that emanates from the planning, we should have in place plan which are executable. Those that we can have, say, economic, a banking system, a bank system that supports them should be in place. And of course, you have the interest rate, which is governed by Bank of Uganda, or to take it by government to protect those who are actors in actual investment. Okay, actors in actual investment. At the same time, the policy planning that I talked about, so to have the ordinary people where policy generate them to capacity to buy, okay, to buy things. In this world, therefore, both the infrastructural elements, the macro and the micro planning, should be protected and guarded to ensure that the economic achievement is sustained and developed. And of course, as a state, you have to provide the macro structure like peace and security. People are not going to get to production when they are not sleeping outside, or when they are walking to production centers, they are shot dead. Security is very paramount. And we cannot talk of this economy until there's production. Even when it means production of services, leave alone goods like sugar, you have to produce services. For example, doctors to produce services in terms of health provision, teachers to produce services in terms of teaching, lawyers to provide services instead of offering legal services. So whether it is in terms of production of goods or services, you need the security. Nobody's going to go on his way to production and is shot dead and you will say there's production. Leave alone the agriculture. If people are not in the garden when there's insecurity, there is no going to be production. So this is a multiple approach and a very on macro and micro level that should be guarded and sustained so that the economy is sustained. I repeat, economies can break. Okay. I have given examples and examples.
Okay, and of course, also now looking at the transformation into the socio-economic world in Uganda, besides the sustainability of our economy, if you look at, we're transforming ourselves as a country that is supporting more of the entrepreneurs and the world of innovation. But however, there's been a very huge challenge when you look at the transformation of the country. We are now evolving into the digital age. We are evolving into the cashless economies and all that. You've apparently got a chance, you've traveled to these countries where they've already championed all this. Where does this leave our economy? If we are to look at the prospects of growing bigger in digitization and also going entirely cashless as Uganda's economy?
Well, we have to transform the economy, otherwise our needs by itself are met in the transformative age. Okay. Our needs are not now met like a fruits and roots gatherer, or roots and fruits gatherer, that you're going to gather fruits in the bush and eat, or dig some roots and eat. No, we have developed more than the world has developed. And also that we are not going to have the economy where you simply grow in the garden and that is it. We have to transform into income generating in terms of cash. Okay. That you produce. It is good if you produce what you can eat, but also what you can sell. But also transformative in the level of technology. We have to do that good enough. The world is now a global village. It is easy for technology transfer. Okay. Therefore, again back to me as a ruling party director, is that all this we have catered for in our manifesto, which we have therefore given it to many line ministries, because the government is simply an agent of the party. It is the party which has a contract with the people. Okay. So we win election and we form a government. And therefore our manifesto, we scatter them along line ministries. And we therefore hope that the ministries are implementing, otherwise that would be a violation in the contract with the people. 2026, after every 5-year cycle of election, how will we explain? You came to us, you told us this, we voted for you, what have you done to what you told us? So this transformation to transformative areas are well catered for and scattered along ministries. But also, the transformation should be in the livelihood of the people. How does an ordinary person, how does he eat? How does he travel? How does he eat? Is he still the same person who was sleeping in a grass-thatched house, on the floor with the skin of a cow? Or he now has an iron seat roof with a bed and a mattress, and he can eat 3 times a day, or the amount of calories content. That is the transformation. And by the way, that transformation is seen in the body future of a person, and even in the thinking.
The mindset.
Did you know that a child of a girl who studied up to senior 4, a baby of a child of that girl is on average better than a baby of a child, of a girl who did not go to school. Because their protective measures and attitudes are different. Okay. So all this economy we are talking about, we are not talking of economy for the sake of economy in abstract. Okay. We are talking of economy that must transform to the livelihood of a person and eventually transform to the body structure, to the health, to the shaping, and eventually to the mindset. So all this transformation, we're talking technology, transformative, and all this, we want it to be manifested in the well-being of the person, in the key indicators of what he eats, where he sleeps, how he travels, which house, what is his health facilities, and eventually the body formation, and eventually the thinking, dimension.
Okay. And of course, to our dear viewers out there, I don't know how your patriotism levels are, or your attitude and mindset towards the development cause that happens as well. But looking steadily as we're summing up here our discussion in regards to patriotism for sustainable development and social and economic transformation of the country. Well, this is an inclusive topic whereby all of us are part of this discussion in any way. You get to realize that a lot of things that do happen in the country affect us. So the approach to most of them depends on how ready we are or how our mindset is set, because some of us are really fast to critique anything that the government provides, yet we do not look at what it is going to solve or in any way look at the positives of it, because ideally some of these particular things are to benefit most of the Ugandans. Not only that, but also to see that the economy grows stronger. The year is coming to an end, Major, and if you were to look back at 2022, the lockdown was lifted, was fully lifted at the start of the year, and things did not go well for most of the people, though some have picked up some huge lessons. If you were to briefly look back at 2022 in a nutshell, how has our economy performed?
It has been challenging.
Okay.
Fortunately, not only for Uganda, but globally. We would have wanted it to do more than it did, but thanks God we survived. We only had the threat of famine in Kenya, but there was a BBC research which was done that every 15 minutes a person was dying in the Horn of Africa, and the Horn of Africa was calculated as Ethiopia, Kenya and Tanzania. I mean Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia. So we were lucky. Even with the threat in Karamoja, we didn't reach there. Thanks God to the hard-working spirit of our people, the good soil that we have, and also the government policy, we were able to eat and be lucky. The oil, the fuel, affected us deeply as a country. But I think it also demonstrated the ability of Museveni. And this one I will come back to it another day.
Okay.
Did you know that at one point everybody was saying, you know, the governments have exercised subsidies in Tanzania, in Kenya, everywhere, let the government reduce the price. Museveni stood firm and said, you know what, if we reduce that price artificially, it will have effect. One, it will be a cosmetic presentation, okay, and it will not absorb the problem. Two is that it will drain the national reserves. So Museveni said, let it be, it will come down. Did you know that it has come down?
It has come down.
So that son of Kagota doesn't talk for the sake of talking. The thing came down. He said, leave it, it will come. That fuel will come. It has come. And those who are talking have kept quiet. So, in a nutshell, the economy has been a challenge. It has not been good, but it's globally. But thanks God, the good climate and other factors, the government policy, we remain alive. We never cried like the rest of the world did. And that is good. We should just do better.
Okay. All right. Any expectations of...
yeah, I just like to share. Expectation of the year is that we should... really look at ourselves as patriotic. Patriotism, which is translated as love for the country, it came from the word patriot. Patriot means the fatherly wood, not the matrot, which is the motherly wood. But let us look at this. Let's assume you have a country like France with black and white. Inside there are divides. But look at France when they're now at the World Cup. You feel a sense of oneness. So let us feel the sense of oneness, that there are things that we must have as Ugandans. We can divide ourselves for governance issues, that we want to do it according to this manifesto, or I would want this leader. But that one will be resolved in a democratic electoral process. But please, let's feel ourselves as Ugandans, let's love this country, because the opposite is breaking it like Somali or breaking it like Libya. It won't take us anywhere. So far now we have gone inside. When I walk on the street, nobody asks me whether I'm a Langi. Nobody asks you which tribe you are. We are okay. So let us maintain that and build further into that, into patriotism. And all duty bearers should do things that promote patriotism. They should not do things in their duty bearer that makes people feel less of patriotism. I call upon all of us.
Okay, and there you have it. Many thanks for joining us, Major. And that is Major Retired Awich Pollar, who is the Chairman, External Affairs, National Resistance Movement, and the ruling party. You've actually had a submission about the son of Kaguta as we were summing up our discussion regarding the issue to do with fuel at the beginning of the year. Our topic today has been around patriotism for sustainable development and also looking at social and economic transformation of Uganda's economy. I'm Jorrum Ssonko, and this is Smart 24 TV. We are on mainstream, channel 394 on GoTV, and then DSTV is channel 372. Well, our YouTube channel, in case you missed anything to do with programming and any live show, you can get it on Smart 24 TV Live, and then the website is www.smart24.tv for more. And definitely there, the Policon ends now. We shall duly do it next time, same time. Have yourself a good stay.